Hey, welcome to the Explainer. So, if you're a Mac user, I'm willing to bet you've seen it. That dreaded application is damaged error. It is so frustrating, right? It just stops you dead in your tracks. Well, today, we're going to break down exactly what it is, and more importantly, how to fix it, using real insights from people who've already wrestled with this and won.
All right, here's our game plan for today. First, we'll get to know the error itself. Then, we'll meet the culprit behind it, a security feature called Gatekeeper. After that, we'll dive into the practical stuff, how to get around it. We'll even hear from some actual users about what works. We'll touch on an even deeper security layer called SIP, and then we'll wrap up by looking at the bigger picture, this constant tug-of-war between security and user control.
Okay, let's dive right in with a problem that probably brought you here in the first place.
And there it is, that infamous pop-up. Now, the first thing you need to know, and this is super important, is that your app is almost never actually damaged. This message is really just a security warning in a very misleading disguise.
So if the app isn't broken, what in the world is going on?
Well, to understand what's happening, we need to talk about a feature called Gatekeeper. Seriously, think of it like a digital bouncer for your Mac. Its entire job is to stand at the door and check the ID of every single app that tries to run, just to make sure it's from a trusted source and hasn't been messed with. It's a huge part of what makes macOS so secure.
You see, Gatekeeper has these different security levels you can set. By default, it's pretty strict. It'll only let in apps from the official App Store or from developers that Apple has officially recognized. So when you download a cool app from somewhere else, maybe from a small independent developer, Gatekeeper looks at it, sees it doesn't have the right credentials, and just slams the door by showing you that damaged error. Okay, so now for the fun part. How do we actually get our app to run? Let's go through the main ways you can get past that bouncer, from a simple override to some more powerful system-wide tweaks.
So we've got a few tools in our toolkit here. We can go for the surgical approach and just fix one app. We can go big and basically disable Gatekeeper for everything. Or there's the super simple manual override. We're going to look at the technical ones first and then the easy one.
Okay, first up, the surgical approach. This one uses the terminal to basically strip off that quarantine sticker that macOS slaps on files you download from the internet. It's kind of like you're walking up to the bouncer and saying, hey, this one's with me, let him in. It only affects the one specific app you pointed to. And if you're curious about what this command is actually doing, xatcher just means extended attributes. You're essentially telling your Mac to recursively clear out all those little hidden notes attached to the file, including that pesky quarantine flag. It's a really precise way to solve the issue for just one app without lowering your Mac's overall security.
But what if you find yourself doing this all the time? Maybe you're a developer or you use a lot of cool indie software. In that case, you might just want to tell the bouncer to take the night off and let everyone in.
And here's the tricky part. Apple doesn't make this easy. They actually hide the Anywhere option in your settings now. To bring it back, you've got to use one of these commands in the terminal. This command basically tells your Mac security policy controller to, well, chill out a bit. Once you run it, that Anywhere option pops right back into your security settings, and you're back in control. And finally, we have what is honestly the method you should probably try first. It's the simplest of them all, and you don't even have to open the terminal. After Gatekeeper blocks an app, just head straight into your system settings. Your Mac will literally tell you, hey, I just blocked this app, and give you a nice, shiny Open Anyway button. For most people, this is all you'll ever need. Okay, so all this technical stuff is great, but does it actually work for real people in the wild? Let's jump into the forums and see what users have to say about this exact problem. So here we have a user, Darth_Livesy, who's new to the Mac world, and they did exactly what most of us would do. They searched online, found that powerful terminal command, ran it, and nothing. Total dead end. And that is a super, super common story. But then this is what's so cool about online communities, right? Another user, Lucky1978, pops in and says, whoa, hey, forget the complicated terminal stuff for a second. Just go look in your system settings. And what do you know? Problem solved. This is such a great example of why you should always, always try that simple Open Anyway button first before you start diving into the command line. But it's not always that easy, is it? As other users here point out, Apple is making this harder over time. With every new version of macOS, especially on their new M-series chips, Gatekeeper is definitely getting stricter. The old tricks just don't always cut it anymore. Yeah, that increasing strictness means that sometimes you run into a whole other layer of security. It's basically the final boss of macOS protection, a thing called SIP. So SIP, or System Integrity Protection, is a really big deal. If Gatekeeper is the bouncer at the club door, SIP has the master key to the entire building and has locked down all the critical infrastructure. It stops anything, even you, the administrator, from messing with the core files of the operating system.
Now, in some really tough cases, users have found they had to temporarily turn SIP off just to get something to install. But listen, this is a huge step. You're basically taking the master lock off the building. You have to reboot into a special recovery mode, and it is absolutely crucial that you turn it back on as soon as you're done. This is definitely a last resort.
So after all that, all these workarounds, all these security layers, what's really going on here? What's the big picture? It all boils down to a fundamental conflict in computing today.
You know, this comment from a user named Jimmy_Guo, even if it's a little dramatic, really hits the nail on the head. Apple builds this beautiful, secure, walled garden, which is fantastic for most people. But if you're a power user, a creative, or developer, that garden can start to feel a lot like a cage. And that's really the question we're left with, isn't it? This whole thing, this one little error message, it points to a much bigger conversation in tech right now. Where do we draw the line? How do we find that perfect balance between a system that keeps us safe from threats and a system that gives us the freedom to truly own and control the machines we use every single day?